And talking about keeping things not awkward is considering table arrangements and seating charts. I remember telling my mom helped me plan my wedding, you can tell. But I remember talking to her and saying, I don't think I want to do seating arrangements. Like, I don't think I want to force people to sit at certain
and mingle
tables.
at certain.
Yeah. And she said, yeah, but what about the one person that doesn't know anybody there? Maybe you want to put them with a bunch of people that have similar like interests. Yeah. And I was like, wow, I didn't consider that. So I did seating arrangements. Hi, I'm Caitlin.
And I'm Kaylee, and this is Shoot the Vows.
And today we're going to be talking about creating a guest experience that's unforgettable for your guests. Kaylee, I think it's so important that brides and grooms consider their guests on their wedding day.
Yeah, they're spending so much time out of their, could be week, depending on the situation, if it's travel, if it's, anything like that. They're taking so much time and energy and money out of what they've got going on to come and celebrate you and your loved one. So I think that having guest experiences are very important. And I feel like it really can almost make or break that moment. Like, yes, you might be doing an open bar and you might be doing, the free dinner, but like there's so much time during a wedding day that people don't think about. Like family pictures. Those take a good chunk a day, depending on your family and how big it is and how many people want pictures. And so you got to think that's an hour and a half after your ceremony that they're just chilling. And I know there's cocktail hour and stuff like that, but maybe throw in a game. Maybe throw in, like, I know we've been to one that had a glass etcher. I know we've been to a wedding that did the portrait, and we were there taking actual good headshot portraits of the guest.
Yeah.
I think it really can be a make or break thing for most guests.
Yeah, you could do a photo booth. I actually saw at one wedding where they had a little flower, like they had dried flowers and a press, and you make your own bookmark.
Oh, that's so cool.
With like all the dried flowers, and there's like a little tassel to put on the end.
That.
I've seen little tea stations where there's various herbal tea ingredients, and you put them all together and you make your own herbal tea. So it doesn't have to be anything super high budget, but something for your guests to be doing either during the reception, if they're not big dancers, because not everyone's a big dancer. Maybe half of your guests are going to be dancing, and that's if you have a good DJ.
If that.
But also while you're getting your pictures taken, and like you said, that can take a lot of time depending on how many pictures you want and who you want pictures with. But it's all really good things to consider. And I remember some of the best weddings that I've been to, they had considered these things. I remember my mom for my wedding, it was very low budget, and it was supposed to be at, we won't talk about that, but it was supposed to be at a public park, and there were picnic tables. And my mom said, something to consider. Do you think that women in dresses want to lift their legs over the picnic tables to sit in the, and disabled or the elderly.
Wheelchair bound. And,
you have to consider all of those things as well. Are things handicap accessible? And she said, oh, those bathrooms. So maybe renting a restroom trailer. And again, not all of these things, like the glass engraver, you don't have to spend $3,000 to impress people.
No.
I'm assuming she was expensive, but
she was there hand making each and every, if I'm remembering correct, you got to walk up to her table, you got to fill out your name and what names you wanted on it, and if you wanted a saying on it.
Yeah.
And I remember there was this one guy who was kind of drunk. He came up to the photo afterwards and he was hitting on a girl, and he used the glass etcher and to ask her out on a date. It was super cute. I'm so glad we got to be there for that. But again, it can kind of make your crowd mingle if you have kind of two separate families that have never really mingled before or met, or, so I think having experiences and having things for people to do, like you said, low, high end, doesn't matter. Just something just to kind of fill in those gaps times.
Yeah. And to make things a little less awkward. So, one thing that I see done a lot recently, and I love this idea so much, is inviting everyone onto the dance floor for a big group photo and then breaking out into dancing. So now nobody feels like, oh, I'm like the first one on the dance
How
floor.
awkward.
And, yeah, like everybody's already there. People just naturally start dancing and the
Right.
party begins. And just considering things like that.
And photo-wise, that helps photos because there's not many times where you get everybody all out on the dance floor at once.
Yeah.
So, should I redo that since there was noise?
That's okay.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, it's really cool to have the photo of everybody too.
Yeah. And besides just the photo of just all of your guests in one space, having kind of pictures of, grandma getting jiggy with it on the floor, and she's probably not going to do that had you not pulled her to the dance floor. And
yeah. And talking about keeping things not awkward is considering table arrangements and seating charts. I remember telling my mom helped me plan my wedding, you can tell. But I remember talking to her and saying, I don't think I want to do seating arrangements. Like, I don't think I want to force people to sit at certain
and mingle
tables.
at certain.
Yeah. And she said, yeah, but what about the one person that doesn't know anybody there? Maybe you want to put them with a bunch of people that have similar interests. Yeah. And I was like, wow, I didn't consider that. So I did seating arrangements.
And I mean, and not just seating arrangements, but the floral arrangements on the table. If you have, people who like to chat and mingle, you don't want this real tall centerpiece in the middle of your table. You want something low and kind of cascading out and down so they can kind of talk and see everybody. But if you have a group that doesn't really mingle with, everybody and you're sitting at 12, a seat with 12, it's okay to have a little bit taller and a little bit more height because there's more people on around sides instead of across.
Yeah.
Whereas smaller tables, they don't have that. Smaller tables, you have to talk with the people who are, the 6 to 8 that are right there.
Yeah, being in central New York, we have 4 seasons. Not every place has 4 seasons. Some have worse seasons, but...
You mean winter that lasts 6 months?
Yeah, that's New York. But people consider, and I've seen my brides consider guests being cold, and they have a bunch of blankets. That's your guest take-home gift.
Yep.
And there's blankets. You could even go as far as to have, this might be a little higher budget, but you could have somebody there embroidering the blankets for your guests.
Oh, how cute. I didn't even think of that because a lot of times there's those signs that are to have and to hold in case you get cold, and then you have the blankets. So that's really cool. I didn't even think about having like an embroider.
Or you can have it done beforehand, and so each guest has their own blanket already embroidered when they get there. If it's summertime, having a fan.
And flip-flops are a big one I see for summertime. Flip-flops for dance floors.
And women wearing heels all day.
Yep, they're not going to want to stay in those.
Yeah, they're going to take them off.
Regardless if you want them to or not.
Yeah, regardless if they have something else to put on their feet or not. They're taking them off.
Yeah.
Yeah, give them enough drinks. They'll get them off. Yeah. So considering the elements and things like that, bug spray. If you're getting married in the woods, thinking about bug spray, because your guests probably aren't bringing bug spray with them.
No, they're not going to think about it. They're thinking about everything else they have to bring to them to show up.
Yeah. Kleenex, maybe having some Kleenex available. Another thing is in the bathroom. A lot of times...
Oh, the emergency prep kits where it has the deodorant, it has maybe a perfume, it has your feminine hygiene products, especially in our bathrooms.
Spray deodorant and bobby pins and safety pins. If your venue doesn't provide it and your planner doesn't provide it...
And your photographer doesn't have it.
Then it's good for you to provide it.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, that benefit of a coordinator or, having just a great photographer that has all this stuff on standby, I feel like that in and of itself pays for itself. Almost in a sense, especially like I know we had the coordinators on that we spoke to, and they have everything more than we have in our kits, but it's kind of a give and take. Do you want to pay a little more and have that coordinator and your photographer just kind of handle it and have it, or in your venue, whoever? Or are you going, like you said, a little bit more low budget in and just kind of supply it all yourself and kind of handle it that way?
Yeah. There's a lot of small details that you really have to consider. Toiletries and things
the whole shebang.
Yep. I think your vendors can really make or break this situation too. I've seen recently a DJ that had a black tablecloth at his DJ table, and he had chalk, and you write your song requests on the table.
How smart.
Yeah, and
That's cool and interactive too.
Yeah, and it's something fun for the guests to do.
Yeah.
If you can't afford a photo booth, or maybe you can afford a photo booth, but you want them anyways, putting disposable cameras at each table, because relying on your guests to send you all of the photos anyways
Very
doesn't
rare.
usually work out.
And even with all the apps and technology that we have now, where it's, I don't even know any of them off the top of my head, but it's take pictures and your guest upload it. I know there was one that I was there for the photo booth, and I had set it up, and everybody was eating dinner, and they went into their first dance, and I noticed that there wasn't a photographer or videographer around. So since everybody was already watching them anyway, I just stepped over to the side and I just recorded their first dance off my phone, and I just uploaded it to their link.
Yeah.
Because it was one of those things of I could clearly see that, there wasn't somebody that was doing it. So, I mean, it kind of plays hand in hand. It depends on what kind of company you go with and who you have. Depends on kind of what experience you have too.
Yeah. You have to really consider your guests too when you're considering your timeline. Like we said earlier, you don't want an hour or a 2-hour gap where your guests are just twiddling their thumbs.
Waiting for you.
They will leave your wedding early. Like if they're if they're very cold, if they're very hot, I mean, put yourself in their position.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you don't need to spend $20,000 just to make your guests happy. You can do this on a tighter budget, but you really want to consider their comfort level.
And how far everybody, I mean, I know me, I'm out of state. So all of my family's out of state. So like, if I ever were to get married, there would be traveling involved. Yeah. So like, it really matters about that guest experience.
And safety. If you have a family that drinks a lot, you want to make sure you have a shuttle for them or you're very close to the hotel. Yep. Because you do not want people drinking and driving.
Nope. I know there was one that I went to another photo booth, and they were having an after party down at the bar that was across the way from the venue. And they all just walked because it literally was less than a block away. They all just walked over and they had their after party there. And then they had a second after party at the hotel, but that's a different story. But again, you kind of can see that like, you don't have to have all this money to create a good guest experience.
Yeah. It's just taking those things into consideration.
And taking the time to think about them and make sure that, is this something that I would want to do if I was there? Waiting, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up guest experience. So
I think so.
If you guys have any other topic requests or things that you want to discuss on next episodes,
please drop them in the comment. We'd love to feature some of your ideas.
Yeah. And as always, we have new episodes every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Our next episode, we will actually not be in the studio. We'll be in New York City.
How exciting!
I rented a studio for us to interview a lawyer to discuss planning contracts and signing contracts with your vendors and how that covers both of you guys.
We've had a lot of DMs and I feel like a lot of requests about the lawyer side of things, about the importance of these contracts that you're getting into. Yeah. So I think that this is going to be a great opportunity for everybody to learn something new. And I feel like this is kind of niche. Like, I feel like this isn't something that most people would think about.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to have Leah on. It's going to be awesome.
Yes.
So as always, like and subscribe.
Bye.